I am with Leo, which is Emma's other pony. Now, in case you're watching these videos separately, I'll just tell you quickly, we're going to do a slightly different reading today. I'm going to get Leo's essence, favourite things, and then Emma's already asked me some questions that she'd like me to ask him. Now, the reason I still ask him his essence and favourite things is because, you know, I used to say an analogy, if you are meeting a child for the first time and you know that they've stolen sweets, you're not gonna, first time you meet them, you're not gonna say, why did you steal sweets? You're gonna be like, you know, oh hi, I'm such a body, and then maybe move on to it. So, yeah, I'm gonna just tune in with Leo and see what happens, basically. Okay, so the first thing I'm seeing is that he is one flashy boy. He's like doing this, he's showing me like his head up to one side and his tail cocked and he's doing this big flashy trot like that. He's showing me galloping around with different size ponies. He's showing me a small bucket with different kinds of fruit and veg in it. He's showing me him being long-reined. Says he really enjoys that. What else do you like, Leo? I think it's Tabitha pampering him. Does she pamper him? Yeah. He's showing me Emma's daughter pampering him. Who are you, Leo? Who are you at your core? Ah, right, okay, so this is quite interesting. I've not had this response before. So I'm trying to find out who Leo is at his core, and he is... Now, horses don't see things in the same way as us. He's saying that because of the breed that he is and the way his family have lived for generations almost. They're out for themselves. They're out for his own survival. Where his next meal's going to, even though he knows he's getting food all the time. And he says that when he was younger, he was very much, he did have to look out for himself and out for his survival. Not that he was, I need to explain this, but not that he was ever in danger, but it's a native pony. And being a native pony, his survival and everything around him is forefront. And he said that although he enjoys spending time around people and stuff like that, it's very much about him. I hope I've explained that well. Again, it's not a bad thing, and I think that us as people put our emotions onto them when actually it's just being a horse, it's just being a Welsh pony or whichever native breed he is. I'm sure he is a Welsh pony, I'm sure. So what he's saying is he's not been taught, or he doesn't do things for... So it's hard to put this in words. I'm just going to say this bluntly, I'm just going to say it bluntly, right? So I'm going to look at Emma, she's just here. So what he's kind of saying is, he doesn't, like other horses might think, oh, if you're getting around the mountain block, I'm going to stand next to the mountain block because I know that's what you want and I love doing things together. It's kind of like saying, if we're going to be led to the field, I'm going to walk nicely outside you. One, because I've been taught to, but two, because I know that this is a really good thing to do. He's kind of like, he's not a naughty or a nasty horse, but he's kind of saying, I'm going to do what I want to do because I matter. I come first, you come second. If I want to move this way, although he's not going to drag you, he's not going to comply with you either. And again, he kind of like, he doesn't see other people as being that loving, nurturing. That relationship is a little bit, I don't want to say feral, but almost how you might, that kind of nature a bit, not in an aggressive way. Does that make sense? Am I explaining it?
It's very standoffish.
Standoffish?
Yeah, he's not a cuddler.
Yeah, and it's not being mean, it's just who he is. I hope I've explained it.
It's not a people pony.
Well enough. No, and that's kind of what he's saying, is he can be a bit affectionate, but not in the same way the other horses are. Let's see if there's anything more about that. So there's a question which is, what does he want to do in an ideal world? He's showing me being in a big barn, but they're all loose. These, I don't know, a bit like, remember Anne Parker's old indoor? Well, this looks like it's a much bigger scale than that. They're all loose, and he's kind of like, yeah, it was cool. I was just kind of I didn't really have to have anything to do with anyone. And it's not like he doesn't like people, he's just out for himself. And he was like, yeah, so they wouldn't come in and put my head collar on and say, here's, not that that's what you do, here's your hay. It was kind of, he would do whatever he wanted and the hay would be provided, and then the person would move away. And he said that he likes that lifestyle, but he's not saying he desperately wants to go back to it. So let's look a bit more into that. Showing me being out in the fields, but he's saying that he gets that here too. He's saying that he is really happy to see you. When he sees you, when he sees his people, like he looks over the door and he's like, oh, they're here. Like, although he's not, although he's not dead like, oh, you're here. He's kind of like, oh, here they are. But then there's not much more past that. I think it's just who he is. I think it is just that kind of a bit of a, what can you provide for me? And he's kind of like, I'm not really into all this cutesy cuddly stuff, so I'm not going to do it. Anything he doesn't really want to do, although he's not nasty and he's not like super bolshy or rearing up and all that jazz. It's just like, I'm not doing it. Anything I'm not interested, I'm not doing it, and that's the end of that. And I, let me see about how I would feel about complying. Straight away, I didn't have to close my eyes. It's like, well, why? Why would I? Why? But then he's saying, no, why? Why would he comply? What's? And it's that thing again. He's expecting this exchange. If I do that, what will I get? Right. And it's, well, there's lots of different training methods, but there just seems to be an exchange with him. And I wonder if at one point, when he was starting to be handled, was there exchange of treats to get him to come to you?
Possibly.
Possibly.
I had him from about a year. So.
Right. Okay. Was he a bit wildy when you got him? Yeah. So he's kind of like just thinking like, what's that exchange? And let me see. What would your ideal thing? What would you want him to do?
Like him to be happy to be ridden.
To be happy to be ridden. Right. Okay. So let me ask him about that then. So he's asking, kind of, what would that involve and where? He's asking, would I be led? And he kind of showed me walking that way down the lane. Right. And he's kind of like saying, I'd do that. He doesn't know what else, like what. And when I'm speaking to a horse, the thing is, obviously, I'm very equine and I can think, oh, Summerford Park and stuff like this, but I can't go down that road because when I'm being Stevie the thinker, I'm not being Stevie the animal communicator. Right. So I'm just limiting myself so that I can see things from his perspective. So he's saying, I do that, what do you want me to do? What do you mean? What do you mean by ridden?
Hack.
Hack? So what do you want me to show him, the bridles?
Yeah. Simple.
He said, can another horse come with him, please?
Yes.
Yes. Who would you want to come? He's showing me a big bay horse and a smaller horse that I think is a female. Does he go out with any of them? Who could it be? Does he spend? Let me see some information. I think the big bay horse might be Sarah's horse.
Right.
Does he ever go out with her?
No, he hasn't.
No, not even being led or anything?
No.
No? Well, why do you think that horse would be good then? He said because Sarah's bossy. And because he's saying that basically she will keep the situation under control.
Right.
So she's quite, obviously I don't really know Sarah very well, but he's saying she manages things, she manages the area, she's always 10 steps ahead. She's on everyone's case in a bit, so he kind of likes them boundaries. He feels a bit safer by boundaries. He's moving on now saying that he's never been the lead horse in a herd. So to him, those boundaries are almost nice.
Right.
So who's the other horse then? I think one might be like a Welsh. Maybe around 14 hands. And then I don't know who the Welsh is. The Welsh horse, that's about 14 hands. And then there's a chestnut that he knows, and there's a small black pony. It's not lucky. Or it could be a dark grey. There's a small, really dark coloured pony. He said that any of those would kind of be alright, and he's kind of given the same census, that is, they're quite lead horses, and he feels safety when he's having a lead horse.
Right, okay.
So, Leo, do you think that's something you could do? He said only if the other horses come. And he said if he can, will you walk with him?
Right.
Just so he feels safer. He says that he respects you, he respects the decisions that you make. And then he kind of stopped and said, I'm just not that horse. So I think that what he's trying to say is, he's not a kind of I love you horse, but he's saying I respect you.
Right.
And to him and his ancestry and where he comes from, respect is the top level. And he's saying, I respect you, just don't ask me to love you, because I don't really love people, period. So that's kind of what he's saying. So yeah, so I think you should definitely give that a go. Someone on his back, if you can, walk out and choose one of the following horses that he mentioned, or you can make a decision on a horse that you know quite well, that is everything that he said, has got that leadership quality, that kind of calmness. He doesn't mind a bit of energy as long as it's focused energy. And then he said, yeah, I'll give it a go, why not, kind of thing. Let's just check his physical health. He just feels a really, really, really sturdy, strong pony. Really sturdy, really strong, no ailments. Like a salt of the earth kind of guy. Is there anything else I can tell you? No?
Stop rubbing.
Alright then, Marley. Not Marley. Leo, I'm sorry. Over and out. Bye.